What's going on, guys? Steve and Jake from Adventure Off-Road X, and we're at the Pear Tree Ranch here with Jake to showcase something new that he got on his Gladiator. If you guys watched my last video, it kind of gave a little glimpse of what Jake got, and right behind me is what he got. He got the Rebel Off-Road tray and canopy, and let me tell you, this thing is sweet. So in this video, we're going to kind of go over everything that the kit comes with and everything it doesn't come with, the stuff that Jake and I have kind of worked on to add on, and we've had some other people that helped us out. Yep. And go from there, guys. So just off the rip, this obviously isn't a build for everybody, and that's fine. There's a lot of builds out there, but this one, you're gonna stay and watch this one. This one's really cool. So again, this is Jake, and let's go right into it. All right, Jake. So tell us a little about this thing, man.
So this is Rebel Off-Road tray and canopy, and what that means is there is two different things that you're looking at. From here is the tray or the flatbed, okay, and then this is the canopy. So you see these holes here. This is for jack stands that go in, two on each side, and you can jack off the canopy, okay, raise it up and off the vehicle, and you are left with the tray or the flatbed. So you have the headache rack, which has a 11-gallon water tank in that. You have the fenders that fit up to a 42-inch tire. You have the toolboxes, and then you have the trundle drawer underneath. That's all part of the tray or flatbed. You can see here where we can put on flip-up sides, which I do have for this. So that gives you still a tub style if you want it when you're running just the flatbed, or you can just go with this flat deck as you see there. The nice thing about the canopy, got these two whale tail locks. It is lockable, so you have a key that does the canopy part here, as well as then you have a separate key which does everything on the tray. Okay, so that is lockable. And there it is.
You know, one thing I noticed, Jake, is how big these doors are. This is really nice to have that nice wide open door set. I mean,
that's right.
You know, like I've ran the toppers, and the toppers don't have this door
have this much room. If you guys go back and watch what did my rig look like before, I had the Rebel Off-Road Explorer rack, and we made custom flip-up sides for that, which the idea of that for me was I wanted to resemble this style. This is a very Australian style that they use a lot there, the tray and canopy design, and I've always loved the look of this, the functionality of this, and so when I got that Explorer rack, I wanted those flip-up sides. You'll see that on the Smart Cap, like what Jay has on his. There's lots of different truck toppers that have flip-up sides, but it's hard to get way up in there versus here I can stand, and we're on a 4-inch lift with 38s, and I can reach way up and in there and have access to halfway across the canopy. And this just allows us to utilize more of this space, becomes much more functional, and it allows us to run different types of things. So what I used to have was a slide out and tilt chest style 12-volt fridge. Now we have the stand-up fridge. So this is a Dometic 85 liter. It has the freezer part, as well as then fridge space where you have drawers, door space. Okay, so it gives a lot of room, and it makes it very functional. It doesn't take me being strong enough to slide and lift and tilt the fridge slide setup that we had before. This is something very easy that anybody can pop that and get in there and get access to the drinks and things, snacks when we're on the beach or when we're camping. And then what we've done here is utilized the 3-door Milwaukee pack-out setup that I've had as my kitchen setup. So in the top, I have soap for doing dishes. I have knives and things, some tools there. We have our adventure lube for cooking on the scuttle, salt, pepper, some seasoning, spatula, tongs, lighter, extra paper towel. And then in the bottom, keep these 2 Yeti cups that we do for coffee and adult beverage, little cups that are a part of this kit, which is bowls, silverware plates. I keep these nice grow gloves for when we're doing hot things, and then we have our adult beverage tools for making old fashions that we do enjoy when we're camping and on the beach. When we move from the drawer system here, then you can see we've been utilizing this pack out with the way it's mounted to this nice Moto-Built pack out mount to the floor. I can just push on that, and now I have access to this as a pantry. So I can keep all my dry goods that don't need to be in the fridge in there. That's been a really nice functional way to kind of have a kitchen setup where we have pantry, tools and such, and then fridge space. And then we have our magnetic paper towel holder and our command coating, powder coated Pear Tree Ranch edition koozie holder, complete with Steve's favorite personal My Little Pony.
Oh, you know it.
Koozie holder for when we're camping. Now, we'll show you as well on the other side, but this is something that I added and customized and dreamed up. We had this beauty plate made. Robinson's custom manufacturing their the weld shop that we use for a lot of things. And so I got the measurements. They cut and folded this for me. We drilled it out, and then we've added these rock lights there. And what that gives us is the rock lights on this door and the other door. The ability to have light around. They're RGBW, so you can have white if you want it, but amber or red for at nighttime to help with the bugs or your night vision. So that's nice. And then here we've added a beauty plate in the rear where we have a charge port that has USB and USB-C power available to us. This is the power to the lights in the 270 awning that we have on here. And so that allows us to have that power. And then we've got these DS18 speakers. We got one on each side, and that allows us to have a sound system in the Jeep. So instead of having to remember to bring and charge the Bluetooth speakers that I have that we use in our training area when I'm riding horses and doing all that, instead of having to remember to bring those, and are they charged, and then do all that and move them around, and then they're rolling around, we've just hardwired for sound. So we have that.
Nice.
And we'll show you the controls for that on the other side. As we move down, let's pop open the toolboxes. So the tray comes with these toolboxes, and in here we have lots of space. These are the ratcheting ties for the awning, and then here you can see I have wired for my compressor, and we're just waiting for that compressor to get here, but that's then hardwired. So I'll have a wired in compressor here that we can use the 2-tire inflate deflate system that I have to air up and air down and help everybody else if they need to be able to air up and air down, and we're hardwired for that. So the air up tools and the compressor will be on this side, and then I'll show you the toolbox on the other side, which has all of our recovery gear. Something that we left on here from the Rebel Summit Series bumper that I had is the corner protection. And what that does is, we know these Gladiators have a lot of booty to them, and if you come off a ledge, you can really drag in this end. So to protect these toolboxes, we left on that step and protection from the Summit Series bumper. And that's just going to help take care of everything. We move around to the rear, you can see the nice LED lighting that we have. This is a beauty plate that covers up where your factory hitch, if you have it, goes. Ties in your recovery points from your steel bumper in the rear. And then we still have our upgraded Mopar catback exhaust on there. With these steps, it covers it up and doesn't look horrible out the back, but we've talked about considering cutting those back to hide them. On the tray, you have what's called your Trundle drawer. And this is a totally sealed compartment back there that gives you tabletop space for when we're hanging out at the beach or at camp, cooking and working. But it also gives you a bunch of storage. So I have towels for the beach, the thunder box for when you've got to use the restroom camping, axe, shovel, engine oil, power steering fluid for our PSC hydro assist system, jet boil for boiling water, stakes for the awning or for my Haven hammock tent, and then my nice Helinox high back chair that I've gone to versus the click chairs that I've used in the past. This I can sleep on at the beach and lean back and have that full back support. And then always a good supply of sunscreen for the beach. You can't not have WD-40 and stuff. So a lot of room for tools, propane fireplace, more pieces for the awning to tie down, lots of room to store stuff with the Jeep and kind of have those things that we want at camping on hand. Also out the back here, I've opted for the add-on to the canopy. So you have the tray, you have the canopy, and then there's 3 different stages that Rebel offers. And I've gone with the jerry holder, the ladder, and the rear tire mount. With the 38s, they don't fit underneath in the stock position, and so I've always gone where I didn't have a spare. Now, most of the wheeling here, I've gotten away, thankfully, and I never needed a spare when I didn't have it, but this is really nice that we can now travel and have that on here. And then this ladder folds down to give you access to the roof, and this awning I've got has a rear D so that you can zip it open and go through the awning while it's deployed and get to the roof. Currently, all we have on the roof is a 200-watt solar panel from Renergy. It keeps the batteries topped off all the time, which is really awesome. But eventually, if we go to a rooftop tent, I can utilize this. It's a bit high, but for me, I've been able to put a foot here and then here and climb up. And had functional access to up there. And then the jerry holder is just whether you have water or fuel, it's nice to be able to carry that. And this just latches and releases so that you can get that out. Simple but functional. Quite nice to, again, have lots of ways to have the things you need if you want it and have access to that. Side, we talked about the recovery gear. So we have all of our Adventure X off-road recovery kit in there. So kinetic rope, soft shackles, tree savers. I have snatch blocks, gloves to protect my hands if we need any of that, and it's usually that we're recovering everybody else versus needing recovering ourselves. You can see again we have the beauty plate on this side, and this area is nice for it to be open. I can keep my scuttle on this side. I keep my Haven tent. I can put my wife's big, awkward, clumsy chair in here when I take her to the beach. We can put all manner of different things on this side. We have our charge ports. We have our DS18 speakers. We have the, I opted for the power system as one of the upgrades that Rebel Off-Road offers. So this power system comes with the canopy from Rebel. Comes with these two 50 amp hour batteries, giving you 100 amp hours. I've added my Power Queen. That was out of the Milwaukee Pack-Out battery box that we built. And so now we have 200 amp hours of power. It has the power inverter, the solar charger. This dual battery isolator helps recognize when the alternator is on. That power comes through here. This power is from the solar, comes down and in. And then we have these 4 switches. So we put the refrigerator on a switch. Then this switch is for our lights up top here. And again, those you have these rock lights came with this controller, so I can change the color, make them flash, make them go to the music, all sorts of fancy stuff. For the most part, we use them in an amber mode when we're at camp, and it's helpful with keeping the bugs out. Right here we have our DS18 head unit for the sound system that we built. This is a custom built box, and we built it so that you can take it out and get to all the wiring on the inside if you need to get things set up. What this does is it normally just lives right like that, and that powers up, and we can connect with Bluetooth. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll bring my iPad and run the music off the iPad. That way, if I need a phone call, I'm scrolling Facebook on my phone while I'm sitting at the camp or beach or whatever, my phone isn't interrupting the music, and the music just runs off my iPad, which then I just download playlists to do that. And this baby rocks. It's quite a cool setup. Okay. Up the top here, this is the table mount out of my Explorer rack from Rebel. And so we just shortened it to fit this this way versus the long way in that it does in the Explorer rack. And then this is the table, the heavy camp table that Rebel sells to go in that mount. It gives us another hard surface. It's a nice sturdy mount, and it's up and out of the way, and it's always ready to go, quick to get out. There's not this unfold and do. I bought this nice little camp table, and it breaks down in a bag, and yeah, I could take it in and out, but there's this setup time, and it gets sandy and it gets gritty, and it's been functional, but it's short. You can't lean on it. This is a way better table, and it's always ready to go. Quite nice thing to have all the time. So between that table, I set it up on the other side, and then the Trundle drawer, we've had more than enough countertop when we're cooking and working at camp and at the beach that allows us to just really have a lot of function. You can see in here we added these foam puzzle piece mats, just simple off of Amazon, and that just keeps the floor protected, quiets it down in here, and allows me to stick stuff. And I just got a rechargeable vacuum that can live in the Jeep to just keep things cleaned up and going. And then we just hid the wiring that we did behind here, these beauty plates. This is currently just tech screwed to the wall, but this will be riv nutted and attached, and we're going to get all of these powder coated orange to match our cool Pear Tree Ranch koozie holder. Has a nice accent with our good buddy Joel command coating. That kind of brings us around. You can see how we have the fuel neck on this side, and then the gravity fed water available to us here. Something that I'll probably add is a water pump system, and probably wired into this switch so that we can have hose and spray. But this was plenty functional when we just went camping and testing this thing out at the beach. And again, the fill for the water's on the other side. You can see in the headache rack we have these really nice lights from Tyri. They're a great sponsor of the channel and supporter of us. I have these amber lights rigged to the Jeep here on my aux switches, and so they're amber as well for when we're setting up camp. We've got plenty of light available to us. And then I've also got Tyri lights in the bumper that are wired into the backup. So when you hit reverse and you're in the Jeep, we've got those nice Tyri backup lights in here. And then you can see they've even relocated the factory camera. So I still have my factory camera and then sensors all tied in to this system. So I'm really excited about this build. Rebel knocked it out of the park a year ago when I had finished doing the flip up sides, and they had my Jeep in their booth at Jeep Beach. Bond shared with me that this was coming, and I went, you son of a gun, because this is a style that I've always been in love with, and the idea of having this available to me just got me really excited. There's been a few other companies that have offered tray and canopy in the US, and hasn't really taken off and really grabbed hold of the American market like what it does in Australia. But what Rebel and Bond has done with this design is they've made it fit the American style. We usually have bigger tires, bigger lifts and things. And so for this wheel well to not need any alterations and be able to fit all the way up to a 42, for the size and dimensions to fit in to these American trucks that we have here, you could fit this on a Tacoma. They've really started with putting them on the Gladiators. And then he has versions of these coming for Rams, as well as a bobbed bed version of this. So there's a lot coming with the tray and canopy from Rebel Off-Road.
So guys, again, thanks Jake for taking the time to kind of show us what you got. I'm really impressed, guys. Like I said in the beginning, this isn't a build for everybody, but what made you decide to go this route?
Like I said, as we were walking around, since I was a child, Australia was something that just fascinated me, called to me. I was excited about. It was the country I wanted to study when we had to do projects, in elementary school, whether it was the wildlife, the culture. I loved Crocodile Dundee growing up. There's all these things. So seeing the style of overlanding that they do there, they call it touring. I loved the look of what they call their utes and their trucks and how they do this style there. It fascinated me, and I didn't really think it was a realistic goal for me. And when I found out they were bringing these to market here and that's all the work that they had done, it was just like, man, wouldn't that be cool? And the opportunity arose to work with them. I work really hard training horses and doing that, and I have a young horse program, so I sold a really nice horse to be able to afford all of this. And my loving wife thankfully said yes and allowed me to invest in this. And it's something that I do not just for myself, but for the family. And it makes it that much easier for the family to work out of the space, enjoy the comforts that this offers us when we're camping, when we're on the beach. And those are the things that we do when we're away from work for fun and together time. And the ease at which this allows us to utilize the space and have access to the different things, it's just that much more functional. It called to me. It's something that got me excited about. And I'm just really thankful that I was able to put this together, because it was more than just myself that made this happen. Like I said, my family allowed and supported me in doing this. Rebel supported me in making this happen. This is the first customer rig that they finished with this new tray and canopy setup. To be able to share it and show it off is exciting.
Yeah, I like I said, I really love the look. We haven't really been out on many camp trips other than really the one that we just did last week. But what'd you think? I mean, obviously, it's the first time. I know I saw you over there washing dishes, and I know that your brainstorming is like mine, where it's like, okay, what can we do to make it better? We're always looking at the rigs, no matter what kind of build you have, and you're just trying to make it better and add on it. So what did you realize, like, as you were out there? I mean,
I really enjoyed the functionality of having the awning that's got the lights in it, having the sound system, having the pack out system as the kitchen. I really was in love with all of it. It made it so simple. The nice table was very easy for us to work in camp and not feel like I was running out of space to work and cook. It's a fun thing. You and I really enjoy doing that together, that we like to cook and feed everybody and set that out, whether we're on the beach or at camp. And I felt like this setup made it that much simpler and easier to do and have a nice work, living space while in camp. It just was exciting. It was really fun. I'm really proud of the function that we added with the lights. And there, again, like I said, the sound, there's more than enough charge ports, the amount of battery and power that this thing has, and it just stays powered up. The fridge doesn't drain it. This thing just sits out in the sun all day, every day, and because of the solar panel that's on the roof, It's
Just keeps it topped
it
off.
just keeps it topped off. It's just ready to go all the time. And it's just exciting to me. I like being excited about the rig. I like not wondering, oh, what about this? What about that? Oh, this isn't working. There was a lot of excitement for me. And that's a nice feeling, because what we do when we go camping, off-roading, to the beach, those are, again, like I said, our fun things that is our reprieve from work.
Yeah,
This is not our full-time job. We do this for fun after hours, and to be able to enjoy it that much more makes it worth it.
Now, you did drive this back from Texas.
Yep.
So, one question I had, is this a DIY kit? Can someone do it at the house? Or is this a, Rebel Off-Road has to install it, or a authorized, place has to install it?
I think you could do it at the house, and
Okay.
they're working on the instructions to do that. I mean, you're going to have to remove your bed. You're going to have to remove the camera. You're going to have to remove the sensors and There's a lot into it. Could you do it? Yeah. We removed the sensors in the old bumper when you and I and Jay put on the Summit Series bumpers. We did that job. And there's a lot of functional people out there that could do a lot of this.
Okay.
My recommendation personally is take it to Rebel. Take your rig to Rebel. I feel like I learned a lot in supporting local, doing the local shop thing, and trying to be part of the community there. And there was some fines I feel like I paid versus the number of rigs that Rebel is building, the quality of work that they're able to do because they're a more nationwide shop with their shops in California and in Texas, and hopefully one day even, Florida. I keep trying to poke Bond. It's, hey, come to Florida.
Hint.
Hint, hint. The work was just really well done, and it was worth the drive. It was worth the effort, and they made it really easy. So I drove it to Texas, dropped it off, caught a flight out of Dallas back to Florida. I was there for a couple of weeks while they made the time to fit this in and do it. There was a bit of a hustle because we worked to have it done before the Moore Expo so that this could be featured at the Moore Expo. And we really pulled it off last second. We were literally buttoning up the last few pieces before we drove that Wednesday. Finished, jumped in the rigs, drove to Moore, did the expo for the weekend, drove back to Texas, finished installing the awning and doing some of those last minute things. And then I left to drive home to Florida. So is it worth it to go all that way or to ship your vehicle? That's another thing. It really isn't that hard to figure out an option to have your vehicle shipped. In my personal opinion, it is, especially when we're going to invest on a big ticket item like this.
Make sure it's done right.
Make sure it's done right. And to me, it's worth it. Okay. To me, it was really worth it. And I'm glad I made that choice.
Have you noticed any weight difference from your last setup to this setup?
The tray itself, with the toolboxes, the Trundle drawer, the water tank, is only 11 pounds more than the factory bed. When you add then the canopy, just the canopy, not the rear tire and all that stuff, that is under 400 pounds, 395 pounds, just the canopy. Okay.
Which, racks and all that stuff.
If you add up the steel rack, the Steel Explorer rack that I had from Rebel, and now they've switched. They have the rear hatch and front hatch that I had on mine. With the side hatches, that's now, if you get that from Rebel, it's all aluminum. I had the first front and rear, and they were steel. They're heavy. When you added that whole steel rack and all that stuff, and the deck system, drawer system that I had, and all the stuff, and the sliding, tilting fridge, and the 5-gallon water thing that I built, and the battery pack, and you added all that stuff, the way the rig handled with that felt much heavier than it does now. We upgraded the springs on this to the Clayton Off-Road 3.5-inch HD springs, and they're rated for 600 pounds over what the normal lift would be.
Nice.
There's another company, Dobinson, that makes a set of springs that does 800 to 1,200 pound add-on as well. There's big name YouTube, Sean from Storage Now, I think, is running those springs, and I believe that, spoiler alert, Rebel's working on their own HD springs to fit a missing link in the market. Because the Dobinson, the biggest you can get is 3-inch lift. Okay, I'm on a 4-inch lift. The Clayton is only 3.5. So to make the rear match the front 4-inch lift on mine, I'm running a spacer from Rockjock. And so to fill in where there's not a really heavy duty spring that meets a weight requirement, okay, Terraflex, I believe they have a HD spring. Do they tell you the weight? Pretty sure no. Same with...
I think we went through that, and we tried to look it up.
Tried to look it up and couldn't find it. Evo Manufacturing. Great products. They have an HD spring, but do they tell you the weight that it's over? They will not tell you.
And they won't tell you the spring rate or anything.
Okay.
Because we tried.
And so that doesn't right or wrong, but I want to know. Yeah. And I've been really happy with the Clayton springs. Yes, we had to do a spacer to make it go, but it's handled the weight of this. I had everything that I would normally camp with loaded into this thing when we went to the More Expo, and still had half the canopy open.
Yeah.
There was so much more functional space and utilization of the space, organization of the space, that I could add more if I wanted. I'm not trying to do overloading.
No.
We're kind of trying to do overlanding where, listen, I know how to rub sticks together and make fire. I don't need a bunch of big stuff. I enjoy the fun toys and having that, but I don't need that. And that's the balance of studying functional outdoor skills paired with, well, I like the Jeep. I like the look of this. I like being able to do it this way and have these creature comforts. And it makes it much easier to get my wife and kid to come along. And so that's, for me, why I choose to have this stuff. And this setup has just made it that much easier to fit the things and not feel like I'm having to dig. And that's the other part of the old setup is, I've heard it said, if you can't, in X number of minutes, get to something you need, it's wrong. The setup is not as functional as it needs to be. And right now, I feel really good about my ability to get to something that I need in the rig very quickly and not have to be digging and sorting and moving and adjusting and shifting. And that makes me really happy and just feel like I can relax that much more when we're out, which is the whole point for us of going out.
Nice.
Is to relax.
Well, guys, again, I would love to hear your feedback. What do you think? And, is this a build for you? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I can tell you by just going out and watching this thing, the small, flex spots, which wouldn't really call it flex spots, but the movement and watching the suspension and everything else, it didn't look top heavy. My old setup with my rooftop 10 and the Alu cab but all the weight that I had on there, you felt it, so having this, it's only time will tell. Like I said, it's still new to Jake, but we definitely wanted to, I wanted to showcase it and show you guys, what Jake's been doing and the plans, and we have a really busy schedule this year into next. So we hope to see you guys, out there. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to put it in the comments below. Or if you see Jake or myself out, hey, just say hey.
Come say hey. I can't wait to share with everybody. Like I said, we already did the More Expo, and there's a couple of events still on the calendar that we're looking to have this thing out to be able to get it out there, enjoy it, use it, but also showcase it. I believe a lot in Rebel and what they've offered me: quality product, quality service, and community. And that's one of the things that drew me to you as a friend and as somebody I want to go out with, is the community that you enjoy and offer, that support system. So Rebel has matched that, as well as what the Adventure Off-Road X crew has done for me and my family. So,
well, guys, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comment below. If you're asking about price or anything like that, I'm going to refer you straight to Rebel Off-Road. Go to their website and click on the canopy, the tray and canopy, and make up your mind if that's the way you want to go. But thanks again, man.
Thank
I really
you.
Appreciate it as always. It's always a pleasure hanging out, and we kind of get lost sometimes, but that's the beauty of it. But Guys, thank you again. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, enjoy your adventure. See ya.